Hello guys, and welcome to a new commentary by me, Vulcan. Today we are playing Wargame European Escalation, and I am again on the packed side. In the top left you can see my base, and in the bottom right you can see the enemy base. I picked this game today because of the way in which both me and my opponent played. There are some very interesting things that happen throughout the entire game, so I am going to explain them as they happen. Now, if I swivel around my map so that you can see it from my point of view, I can show you what I was doing with my deployment. Now, this is probably one of my favourite maps. This is Rivers of Blood. The reason I like this map so much is because it's very diverse. You can use infantry tactics if you go on this side of the river, and then more heavy tactics if you go on this side of the river. And in the middle it's very contested, which makes this a very fun map to play. So anyway, as you can see, I've deployed very quickly. I've got two Pragas, which are basically the very light anti-aircraft. They will basically scare away any quick rushes that they may send with helicopters. I've also got a recon on the left. I wasn't planning on moving anything over on the left side of this river at the start. I was going directly for Echo and Juliet. Now I feel this is the best strategy for this map, for the pure fact that you don't want to, you want to gain the most points at the beginning. So if you go for a 5 point straight off the bat, you're going to do very well. Okay, so also you can see that I've got two T-80s, and these will be around here. These are to cover the bridge approaches from these two objectives. This means that he is going to have a hard time, if I take this hill here, of capturing Foxtrot and securing his 5 point side middle objective. The Mi-9 is obviously my chopper for scouting. Two Strops to support two T-80s. These are the fastest anti-aircraft in the game, and they can be very effective against recon helicopters in particular. I've also got a long-range anti-aircraft missile unit here, which is the Buick, which is basically one of the most powerful anti-aircraft in the game for more heavy helicopters like the Cobras and the Apaches. I've got these BTRs here, which have igloos in to cover the two BDRMs, which I'm using to capture Echo and Juliet. And the Buratino finally is a close artillery support vehicle, so which basically, I explained in my last video, has 30 rockets and basically does massive barrages. I've got two igloos left at my base, and four Motostrelki, the Czech Motostrelki in Topaz APCs. These are awesome APCs for the pure fact that they have recoilless rifles on them, which makes them quite good for rush infantry tanks. They are like APCs, and when you've dropped out the Motostrelki from them, they basically become infantry support vehicles with reasonably heavy armor. Heavy armaments, not heavy armor. So from his side, he starts with a lot of infantry, and you can see that this is obviously a very infantry based map if you can defend on it. And I guess he expected me to attack him quite early on, but I don't. So his tactic in that respect kind of goes out the window. He's got these T-30 or AMX-30B Valorizers. I used to really like these tanks for the pure fact they have a cannon and an auto cannon on them. These however are very squishy tanks. They don't have much armor at all and can be taken out very easily, as I found out when I started using them. He's gone for M1 or M577G command armor, which is basically weaponless but has lots of armor and will not be picked off by any sort of light artillery like mortars or anything. If you're going for an M151A1 command like he's got here, these can be picked off by a stray mortar, which can be very annoying on occasion. So anyway, you can see these 4 topazes are purely for rushing this Gulf area. Most people from the NATO side do prefer to go for Gulf rather than Charlie, because Charlie leaves you very open to the heavy armor that Pact can produce. The left side, or this side, however, you can defend reasonably easy, but I send my topazes straight up there. I split them up so that I can check more bushes at once, but as soon as these 2 topazes find out that they're being attacked, I make sure I send the whole lot downhill to take out these VABs and chasseurs for masse as soon as possible. The best thing about a topaz is not only is it good against these light VABs here, it also can help a lot with taking out chasseurs for masse or any other infantry units. You can see how powerful the recoilless rifles are against infantry. And even though I lose maybe 1 or 2 topazes, you can see that I've taken out 2 VABs with chasseur squads, which are 30 points each. Now while I'm attacking him over here, my T-80s managed to get in position, and these start attacking his VABs at the middle of the map. Now I'm not sure why he doesn't move them back, but you can see my T-80s just purely pot-shotting these chasseurs for masse and the VABs that they come in. Now, unfortunately for him, I guess he was just about to try and move that back, but my T-80 manages to snipe the VAB before he gets a chance. So now my BDRMs are in position. I basically make sure to put conkers in this building here. This is a very vital building. He captures Delta later on, which normally the Pact players go for if they're not capturing the middle so early. But yeah, he managed to pick that up, so I get a conkers team into there and pull the BTR back for light anti-aircraft support if a helicopter decides to fly right over them. I've got an Igloo over here for missile anti-air, and the rest of my units have taken up defensive positions on the hill side over here. And you can see that I've lost another topaz on this side and another Motostrelki unit, which got picked off by the couple of AMX 30Bs that I showed you earlier. These Motostrelki are moved forwards to get closer to this recon helicopter and basically get in the way of this road if he wants to bring in any reinforcements from Gulf. In the meantime, my Buratino is busy firing at those groups of chasseurs for masse and makes short work of them, thanks to my MO9 spotting them in the bush. So at the moment I'm at 120 points up to his 40. These 2 T813s are basically coming in to refuel the Buratino and make sure that anything else comes with lots of, or keeps up with ammo. Here you can see that I brought in a nice loads of reinforcements, a couple of Zalos, which are very fast tank destroyer prototypes. They don't have much armor, but they have a reasonably good gun and they can rush targets very easily. You can see that I'm pulling in a few topazes to basically scout the front line. These are very good rushing troops, as I said earlier, but I basically use them as scouts to see what's in the forest before sending this little task force in. And see the reinforcements coming in there. You can see now I'm bringing in topazes to set up defensive positions around India. I don't really want to go for Foxtrot now because I know that his stronghold in Charlie and Golf would mean absolute destruction for any command vehicle I put in Foxtrot. So I decide to defend India with T-55 AMVs and topazes with Motostrelki, and then bring in a BDRM to capture India. Now he makes good use of this looks here. It does unfortunately come to its demise to a Zalo, but It is a very good recon vehicle. It's probably the best recon ground vehicle for NATO units, just for the pure fact that that autocannon is extremely deadly. Now you can see over here that I was saying earlier about him bringing in reinforcements. He obviously forgot about the Moto Strelky, and I managed to get a free kill on a helicopter, a recon helicopter, during that skirmish. Now because he wants to get a glimpse at where my BDRM is, he moves his scout helicopter forwards, and it manages to get sniped by my Igla, which is unfortunate for him, but gives me 65 points, I believe. Now throughout this game he does go very light unit heavy, if that makes any sense. He uses a lot of light units throughout the entire game, and I like that kind of play style, but when you mix heavy with light, it works out so much better. And you can see here that he's already taken out one of my Zalos, and another one gets picked off really easily because of the light front armor on them that I was talking about earlier. And the other Zalo, however, managed to take care of it and get rid of his recon on that side. Now, noticing that his recon chopper got shot down, he starts aiming at this Topaz over here to try and get rid of that, while his tow jeeps manage to try and take it out. Now these Moto Strelky managed to take out an AMX-30B Valorized with one shot RPG to the side. That is why you don't favour these tanks, because the light armour just means they can be picked off by any other light unit, which is very unfortunate. You can see my units coming in to stop here. I've got another couple of Pragas to make sure that the airspace is covered. And I've also got a TA-13 here just to repair the BDRM if it takes any light artillery. Now these vehicles here that he uses were in my last game. They are very fast and nimble scout vehicles which have a lot of potential for the pure fact they have a very good main gun. The unfortunate thing about them is they don't have much ammo, and they have very light armor. You can see if I hover over it, they've only got one front armor and 0 side, rear and top armor, which makes them incredibly prone to any kind of auto cannon fire or main guns. Now I push my T80U forwards here just to take care of this recon vehicle. That was because my Zalos got destroyed by something that was in there. He brings up a VAB here which fires on it later on. These AMX Rolands, however, get targeted by my Buratino. I really don't want them firing on my MI9 while I'm trying to push forwards, so I make sure that my Buratino takes care of them as soon as possible. Now this thing here, the Afghansky, is a very solid anti-aircraft vehicle with a quad autocannon, which is lethal for pinning down troops and also for pinning down vehicles because it stuns them very easily. It's a perfect support vehicle for close air support and for being bait basically for heavier vehicles. Now with the artillery coming in, I know there are only mortars, but I really don't want my T80U being worried or routed during any skirmish with other troops that come in, so I decide to retreat it up onto the hill. Now at this point I am on 515 points to his 148, and I have a massive advantage in resupply, because if you can see by the pure volume of troops that I have that I have clearly gained the supply advantage. Over here, my T-80s just took out those couple of AMX-30B valorizers with ATGMs. While my Tunguska manages to shoot down a Kiowa before it fires off any of its Hellfire missiles, which is a very bad mistake from him, for the pure fact that that costs a lot. Those Kiowa scout helicopters do take a lot to use properly, but they are very costly and not really worth it unless you know how to use them. Now these T-55 AMVs do unfortunately get taken out by his towed jeeps. This one, however, is out of range and doesn't get sniped, but has trouble using its own ATGM against these AML-60s. It eventually runs out of ammo and has to stop firing. Now, knowing that he's coming in with so many vehicles down here and they're not really protected, I can see that on my screen. I know that there was vehicles here without any AA protection. I decided to go ahead and bring in a couple of Havocs with their own MI9 support recon. This is so that they don't have to use their own optics to spot anything, therefore making it less of a risk of bumping into any missile AA units. Now over here again, he brings in another Kiowa and he gets shot down by one missile again from a Tunguska, and you can see how much they cost, 95 points. And it's a lot to lose in a 1v1 game. Another one coming in over here. You can see he hasn't got the more expensive ones, he's got the less expensive ones with the machine gun and rocket pods, but they are still really not worth bringing in unless you know that they're going to do the damage. Because again, he just flies it straight into my Igla, another missile unit. This is, in the meanwhile, my Havocs are making short work of these light vehicles on the ground. Now, this is what I was talking about earlier with these interesting choices. He decides to bring up 3 chaparrals, but these should have been placed up here way earlier. You never want to leave any sort of units out in the open without anti-air support. You can see if you look around on my side of the screen, you've got T-55s over here with Pragas. Yes, they can be taken out quickly, but they are a threat. That means that if they get scouted, people aren't going to attack them with helicopters because they know they're going to do some damage. They're not going to risk attacking them because they know that there's anti-aircraft there. I know that he doesn't have anti-aircraft, making his units so easy to pick off. Even here, when I'm bringing in T-55 AMs, I'm pushing them straight forwards up into his light vehicles, but you can see again I've brought in a couple of Pragas. These are extremely cheap and crap anti-aircraft units, but they just show a force and they're very good for just making sure that the enemy doesn't harass you with helicopters. Now my Igla again is having a field day with his Igla and manages to shoot down another one of his helicopters before he manages to lower their altitude so that they go out of line of sight. At the moment he can't see very much at all. This is because I've destroyed most of his recon. I destroyed his looks over here, all those ERC-90s, those light, fast recon vehicles he's been using with the good guns. I managed to take out another one here. He has no recon on the front. He's been relying a lot on helicopter recon and it's been shot down every time. And you can see here, I managed to absolutely destroy a Lux, a Hempt, 3 Chaparrals and 2 Chasseur for mass squads in really quick succession with 1 Buratino barrage, which absolutely destroys most of his forces in this area. You can see that all that's left is a VAB, which is in desperate need of repair. And all he can see of me is an MI9. Now in the meantime you can see that I've spotted his VABs, but it's definitely coming to the end of the game now. And this was a 20-minute game. It could have been a 30-minute game if I'd maybe put the time up, but I think the thing I like about 20-minute games, it puts the pressure on and make sure that you actually have to have some sort of decent skirmish to make sure you're going to win. And with that Buratino barrage, it pretty much secured my win. These T-55s don't even get a shot off. Unfortunately, they don't even get to the battlefield on time. I was rearranging them at this point, waiting to attack them. But that is basically it, guys. That is my victory right there. I basically, from the word go, I take the initiative and manage to destroy his light vehicles. And I believe that's really where he went wrong. He relied too much on air recon. He relied too much on light vehicles, and that allowed me to basically get plenty of not so much free kills but easy kills from that. You can see my Havoc's got a lot of kills at the end of that. So anyway, I hope this has been a good commentary for you guys. I hope you've enjoyed it or maybe learnt something from it. But yeah, thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.